Sharron Angle is running virtually even with Harry Reid in the Real Clear Politics average of polls. Backed by the Tea Party Express, she portrays herself as a political outsider. But she was here in Washington today looking for help from Beltway insiders, the Republican establishment.
You can't do this by yourself, and when you go from a primary where you had 7 employees, now you're into the multi-million-dollar race of your life, you have to have people that can help. This is a movement of mainstream America, and yes, they're ready for new people to come who really understand what we the people want from our government, and that is less government regulation and lower taxes.
Angle knows what it's like to be in a tight contest. She lost a congressional race in 2006 by less than half a percentage point. She expects her race against Harry Reid to be very close and very tough in the closing weeks. You've made a point to focus on Senator Reid's record and some of the things he's been saying. He's made a point to paint you as extreme. Here's what he said in a recent interview with Fox.
Someone that wants to phase out Medicare, get rid of Social Security, someone that wants to privatize the Veterans Administration, someone who wants to get rid of the Department of Energy, the Department of Education, the Environmental Protection Agency, someone who says that we didn't need to get more money for teachers or too many teachers anyway. Now, is that extreme? I think so.
What's your reaction to that?
You know, the only thing that Harry Reid has in his toolkit is to attack Sharron Angle and try to demonize Sharron Angle, and that's really what he's done. Whether it's truth or not, he throws it up there to see if someone will believe it. Most of that is just totally false.
Well, let's just go through it.
Okay.
Phase out Medicare.
Totally false. He has actually taken $500 billion out of Medicare. I've been saying that we have to defeat Harry Reid in order to restore or at least keep our promises to our seniors.
Get rid of Social Security.
Totally false. Again, Harry Reid's the one that said if you're taking from Social Security for anything else, he said this in 1990, it's stealing, and then he proceeded to vote all of that $2.5 trillion into the general fund to be spent for generally anything. And so he's the one that's raided and pillaged Social Security. I just want to keep my promise, our promise to those senior citizens, and then going forward give younger workers options like personalized accounts.
But you've used the word transitioned out, or the phrase transitioned out, about Social Security.
Well, certainly, if we give people a choice between a fund that can be rated by their government and one that's a personal asset to them, wouldn't they be transitioning to the fund that they can personally own?
Someone who wants to get rid of the Department of Energy.
Well, those are things that we have in the 10th Amendment. Remember, there are enumerated powers that the federal government should be involved in, and then there are things that the states should be doing themselves. In energy, education, those kinds of things, the states would be better doing themselves and keeping that money right there in the state, spending that money, because they know better than Washington, D.C., what they need to do in the state when it comes to those issues.
EPA as well?
Certainly.
Didn't need more money for teachers. There are too many teachers anyway.
That's just totally false. I'm an educator. My son is a teacher. He teaches 8th grade history. The problem is that we are top-heavy in education, and we spend a lot of money in administration and bureaucracy when we should be spending that money right at the level where the stakeholders are teachers and parents and letting them make the policies.
What's your take on the debate over extending the tax cuts?
We're in an economic situation that's the most egregious in Nevada. We have 14.3% unemployment, the highest foreclosure rate in the nation, the highest rate of bankruptcy, principally because of the Harry Reid policies that he has passed, promoted, and made deals for in the last 18 months. We need to give the confidence to our private business sector that we're going in the direction, and making the tax cuts permanent would be a good step in that direction.
You did say this to KRNV about the unemployed. You said you can make more money on unemployment than you can getting one of those jobs that's an honest job, but it doesn't pay as much. We really have spoiled our citizenry. Do you regret that statement?
Well, always when you are picking out words spontaneously, sometimes you use a word that you wished you hadn't used exactly that phraseology. And of course, I have apologized for the word spoiled. And I also called on Harry Reid to apologize for saying this war was lost and saying that General Petraeus was dishonest. I think that his words have consequences. My word was just a poor choice, but his had consequences to the morale of our military, and he truly apologized. And I was hoping that he would take my example and say, oh yeah, well, I misspoke, but he hasn't apologized for anything. What I meant by that is that we don't want a Band-Aid. We don't want the extension of unemployment benefits. We want real jobs with a future, permanent jobs that we can count on.
The Reid campaign is very clear. Their plan is to come after your legislative record. You voted no a lot in the state legislature.
I vote no on tax and fee increases, poor public policy, and unconstitutional laws. And I think really that people want someone who would have said no to stimulus, no to Obamacare, no to bailouts. They're ready for someone who understands that we don't need more government, we need less government.
We have repeatedly asked Senator Reid to appear on Special Report, including a new request this week, but we have so far been turned down. The invitation remains open.